Did you know the average person spends over 2 hours a day consumed by anger, frustration, or worry? That's over 30 full days a year, an entire month of your life spent feeling upset. Imagine what you could accomplish if you reclaim that time and energy. Now think about this. How often do you let a rude comment, a bad driver, or an unexpected inconvenience ruin your mood? How often do you replay arguments in your head, stressing over things you can't control? It's exhausting, right? But what if you could break free from that cycle? As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This timeless wisdom from Stoicism holds the key to emotional freedom. In this video, I'm going to show you how to apply Stoic principles to master your emotions, stay calm under pressure, and never let anyone or anything control your peace again. If you're ready to transform the way you respond to life's challenges, keep watching. You won't want to miss this. Today, we're diving deep into the ancient philosophy of Stoicism, a practical and transformative mindset that's been around for over 2,000 years. What's amazing is how incredibly relevant it is in today's chaotic, fast-paced world. Let me ask you, how often do you find yourself frustrated or stressed because of something outside your control? Maybe it's a rude comment on social media, a coworker's negativity, or even something small, like a traffic jam. If you're like most people, these moments can ruin your mood for hours, or even your whole day. But what if I told you there's a way to stay calm, unshakable, and in control of your emotions, no matter what's happening around you? That's what Stoicism teaches. At its core, Stoicism is about mastering your mind. It's about understanding that while we can't control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. And in a world full of distractions, conflict, and emotional triggers, this philosophy is more important than ever. Let me share a quick story from my own life. A few years ago, I had a coworker who constantly criticized my work. At first, I'd replay their comments in my head, feeling angry and frustrated. But when I discovered Stoicism, I started asking myself, is their opinion something I can control? The answer was no. What I could control was my attitude, my effort, and how I chose to respond. That mindset shift changed everything. It gave me back my peace and helped me excel at my job without letting their negativity drag me down. And that's exactly what I want to share with you today. We'll explore the key principles of Stoicism and how you can use them to stay resilient, calm, and focused no matter what life throws at you. If you're tired of letting external events control your emotions, stick around. This could change the way you see the world. Let's take a moment to reflect on modern life. Think about your average day. How often do you feel stressed, frustrated, or overwhelmed by something that's completely outside your control? Maybe it's a rude email, an unexpected deadline, or someone cutting you off in traffic. These small moments add up and have a big impact on your emotional well-being. In fact, a recent study by the American Psychological Association found that 27% of people feel so stressed during the day that it negatively impacts their ability to focus or be productive. Sound familiar? It's not just the big challenges in life that wear us down. It's the accumulation of these little irritations that we let control us. The truth is, society conditions us to react immediately to everything. Social media thrives on outrage, the news amplifies fear, and we're constantly comparing ourselves to others online. It's no wonder so many of us feel drained and emotionally reactive. But the problem isn't just external. It's how we've been taught to handle these situations. Let me share a quick story. There was a time when I used to check my phone first thing in the morning. One day, I woke up, scrolled through my notifications, and saw a negative comment on something I'd posted the night before. That one comment instantly ruined my mood. I spent hours replaying it in my head, drafting and deleting responses. By the time I'd started my day, I was already drained. And for what? A comment from someone I didn't even know. It wasn't until I discovered Stoicism that I realized I had a choice. Instead of letting that comment control me, I could control my response. I could decide it wasn't worth my time or energy. That simple mindset shift gave me back my morning, and it's something I use every day to stay grounded. Here's another example. Imagine you're stuck in traffic on your way to an important meeting. What's your first reaction? For most of us, it's frustration, checking the clock, sighing loudly, maybe even shouting at the cars in front of us. But here's the thing. Does any of that change the traffic? Number. It only makes you feel worse. This is where Stoicism comes in. Instead of wasting energy on things we can't control, Stoics teach us to focus on what we can. In that traffic jam, you can't control the cars, but you can control your attitude. Maybe you use the time to listen to an audiobook, practice gratitude, or simply breathe deeply and stay calm. That's the power of shifting your focus. Let's take this one step further. Why do we care so much about what people think of us? Think back to a time when you felt embarrassed or judged. How much of your emotional energy did you spend trying to defend yourself or win someone's approval? But here's a question. Did their opinion really matter in the grand scheme of your life? I remember one time when I received harsh feedback on a project at work. My first instinct was to feel defensive. I started overanalyzing everything I'd done, convinced I had failed. But when I stepped back and looked at the feedback objectively, I realized it wasn't an attack. It was an opportunity to improve. And even if it wasn't constructive, I had the power to decide how much weight I gave it. The more I've practiced Stoicism, the more I've realized how often we give away our peace to people in situations that don't deserve it. We let external events dictate how we feel, and in doing so, we lose control over our own emotions. But here's the good news. We don't have to live like this. Stoicism offers us a way to reclaim that control, to stop reacting to life and start responding with purpose. And when you start applying its principles, you'll notice something incredible. You'll feel lighter, calmer, and more in control, no matter what's happening around you. So, here's my question for you. How much of your emotional energy are you giving away to things you can't control? And what would your life look like if you took that energy back? Let's explore how Stoic principles can help you do exactly that. One of the most liberating ideas in Stoicism is the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, said it best. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Think about this. How much energy do we waste worrying about things that we simply can't control? The weather, other people's opinions, or the outcome of an event. These are all things that fall outside our sphere of influence. Yet we spend hours, even days, stressing over them. Let me give you an example. A friend of mine once spent an entire week obsessing over whether they'd get a promotion. Every conversation we had revolved around what ifs. What if they didn't get it? What if their boss didn't like them? What if someone else was more qualified? By the end of that week, they were exhausted. And the irony? They had no control over the decision. What they could have done was focus on doing their best work and preparing for the possibility of either outcome. Here's a practical exercise you can try. The next time you feel stressed or anxious, pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. Instead, redirect your energy to what you can control, your preparation, your response, or your attitude. This one shift can save you so much emotional energy. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote, "You have the power to revoke your opinion at any moment." This principle reminds us that events are neutral. It's our interpretation that gives them meaning. Think about a recent challenge you faced. Did you immediately assume it was a negative experience? What if you could reframe it? For example, instead of seeing criticism as an attack, view it as feedback that could help you grow. Instead of seeing a setback as a failure, see it as an opportunity to learn. Here's a personal example. I once had a project that completely flopped. At first, I was devastated. I felt like I'd wasted so much time and energy. But when I stepped back, I realized it wasn't a waste. It was a lesson. I learned what didn't work, which ultimately helped me succeed in future projects. Reframing your perspective doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means choosing a lens that empowers you rather than one that holds you back. And science backs this up. Research from psychological science shows that reframing stressful situations as challenges rather than threats significantly reduces cortisol levels, the hormone linked to stress. So, here's a question for you. What's a recent event in your life that you could reframe? Think about how changing your perspective could turn a challenge into an opportunity. This principle comes to life in everyday situations. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic. What's your first reaction? For many people, it's anger, shouting, honking, or feeling annoyed for the rest of the drive. But let's pause and apply Stoicism here. Ask yourself, can I control how that person drives? The answer is no. What you can control is how you react. Instead of letting that moment ruin your mood, you can take a deep breath, let it go, and focus on continuing your day with a calm mind. Here's another example. Have you ever been in a heated argument where you said something you later regretted? Stoicism teaches us that we can't control what the other person says, but we can control our response. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can pause, reflect, and choose a response that aligns with our values. This principle isn't just about traffic or arguments. It applies to every aspect of life. For instance, if you're preparing for an important presentation, you can't control the outcome entirely. Maybe the technology fails or the audience isn't receptive. What you can control is your preparation and how you handle unexpected challenges. The next time you're in a stressful situation, try this. Pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what can I control here? This simple question can help you stay grounded and focused. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort as a way to prepare for life's inevitable challenges. Seneca, for example, would occasionally live for days eating simple foods and wearing basic clothing to remind himself that true happiness doesn't depend on luxury. Why is this important? Because when you deliberately expose yourself to discomfort, you build resilience. You learn that you're capable of enduring more than you think, and you become less fearful of life's uncertainties. Let me share my experience with this. A few months ago, I started taking cold showers every morning. At first, it was unbearable. But over time, it taught me discipline and helped me realize that I could push through discomfort. Now, when I face challenges in my daily life, I remind myself, if I can handle a freezing cold shower, I can handle this. There's a modern equivalent to Seneca's practice: intermittent fasting, skipping unnecessary luxuries, or even turning off your phone for a day. These small acts of discomfort help you develop emotional and mental strength. Here's a question for you. What's one small act of voluntary discomfort you could try this week? Maybe it's skipping your morning coffee, walking instead of driving, or going without your favorite snack. Let me know in the comments what you'll commit to. I'd love to hear how it goes. Let me share with you one of the most powerful stories I've ever come across, one that embodies the essence of Stoicism in action. Viktor Frankl was a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor who endured unimaginable suffering in Nazi concentration camps during World War II. He lost his family, faced starvation, and witnessed the worst of humanity. Yet amidst this horror, Frankl discovered a profound truth. Even when everything is taken from us, our possessions, our freedom, even our loved ones, we still have the power to choose how we respond. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Think about that for a moment. Even in the most dire and uncontrollable circumstances, Frankl found strength by focusing on the one thing he could control: his mindset. He chose to find meaning in his suffering. He looked for ways to help others in the camp, offering comfort and hope to those around him. Instead of succumbing to despair, he used his inner freedom to maintain a sense of purpose, and that purpose kept him alive. Now let's step back and reflect. If Frankl could find peace and strength in a situation as extreme as a concentration camp, what does that say about our ability to handle life's everyday challenges? The rude comment, the tough boss, the traffic jam. Compared to what Frankl endured, these are minor inconveniences. Yet we often let them take control of our emotions. Here's another example to bring it closer to home. I once had a friend who went through a painful divorce. They felt betrayed, angry, and completely out of control. But one day they decided to embrace a Stoic mindset. Instead of focusing on what they'd lost or trying to control their ex's behavior, they focused on what they could do: rebuild their life. They took up new hobbies, reconnected with friends, and eventually found happiness again. That decision, to focus on their response rather than their circumstances, was what allowed them to heal. The lesson here is this: life will throw challenges at you. Some will be small and annoying, others will be life-altering. But no matter how tough things get, you always have the power to choose your response. That's where your true freedom lies. Here's a question for you. What's one situation in your life right now where you feel stuck, frustrated, or powerless? Take a moment to think about it. Now ask yourself, what part of this can I control? How can I choose to respond in a way that empowers me rather than drains me? Frankl's story reminds us that while we can't always change our circumstances, we can always change our perspective. And when we do, we unlock a strength we didn't know we had. But I want to make this practical for you. Here's a simple exercise inspired by Frankl and the Stoics. The next time you're faced with a difficult situation, pause and write down 2 lists. On one side, list everything you can't control about the situation. On the other side, list everything you can control. Then, focus only on the second list. This exercise will help you shift your mindset and reclaim your peace. Frankl's story is a testament to the power of inner freedom, and it's a powerful reminder that no matter how chaotic life becomes, we hold the key to our own resilience. So let me ask you, what can you take from his story to apply to your own life? How can you use Stoic principles to find your strength when life gets tough? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. To wrap things up, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered today. Life is full of challenges, some big, some small. But what truly matters isn't the events themselves, it's how we respond to them. We started by discussing how modern life often leaves us feeling stressed, frustrated, and emotionally drained. From the constant distractions of social media to unexpected setbacks at work, it can feel like we're at the mercy of external forces. But Stoicism offers a way to take back control. Let's revisit the 4 key principles we explored. Focus on what you can control. By shifting your energy to the things within your influence, your thoughts, actions, and attitudes, you free yourself from the endless cycle of worrying about what you can't change. Reframe your perspective. Events are neutral. It's our interpretation that gives them meaning. When you learn to see challenges as opportunities, you transform obstacles into growth. Practice the dichotomy of control. In everyday situations, from traffic jams to tough conversations, remind yourself that while you can't control what happens, you can always control how you respond. Embrace voluntary discomfort. By intentionally stepping out of your comfort zone, you build resilience and prove to yourself that you're stronger than you think. Remember Viktor Frankl's powerful story. Even in the darkest circumstances, he found strength by focusing on the one thing no one could take from him: his attitude. His life is a reminder that no matter how difficult our challenges may seem, we have the power to rise above them. Now it's your turn. I want to hear from you. What's your biggest takeaway from this video? Is there a Stoic principle that stood out to you the most? Maybe you've already started applying some of these ideas in your life without even realizing it. Or perhaps you're ready to take your first step toward mastering your emotions. Whatever it is, share your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading and responding to as many as I can, because I'd love to hear your perspective. And let's make this a two-way conversation. Here's a challenge for you. Over the next week, pick one Stoic principle we talked about, whether it's focusing on what you can control, reframing your perspective, or practicing voluntary discomfort, and apply it to a real-life situation. Then come back and share your experience in the comments. What worked? What didn't? How did it feel? Not only will this help you internalize what you've learned, but your story might inspire someone else to do the same. If you're ready to dive deeper into Stoicism, I've got you covered. Check out my other videos where we explore topics like how to stay calm under pressure, how to find purpose through challenges, and practical exercises for building emotional resilience. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. I've got a lot more content coming that I know you'll find valuable, but it doesn't stop there. Let's keep building a community of like-minded individuals who are striving for peace, clarity, and inner strength. Share this video with a friend, coworker, or family member who could benefit from learning how to stay calm and in control. Imagine how much better our world could be if more people embraced the principles of Stoicism. Finally, I'd love for you to be part of this growing community beyond YouTube. Check out the links in the description for more resources like my newsletter where I share weekly insights on Stoicism, personal growth, and emotional mastery. You'll also find links to my social media channels where we can connect, and you can get daily Stoic inspiration. Thank you for being part of this journey. Remember, the power to master your emotions and live a calm, resilient life is always within your control. Let's keep growing stronger together.